Welcome all to Cousins Gymnasium here on the campus of Tufts University, the host site of the Boston Invite, where 6 volleyball teams from across the country have gathered to demonstrate their early season prowess. Our first matchup pits one of the hosts against the perennial postseason powerhouses that are the captains of Christopher Newport University. These teams last met 9 years ago yesterday on this very floor, with CNU running out 3-0 winners, as they did 3 years prior, in the only other meeting between these two teams. Today could be a very different story, though, as the Jumbos have returned from St. Louis last weekend after some strong displays against some of the best teams in the nation. The captains have already jousted with some of the top teams this year, including the reigning national champions Juniata. And they are looking to springboard from this game back into the national rankings conversation where they believe they belong. Hold on to the handrails as the captains set sail on this one, while the Jumbos will look to make their voyage as rocky as possible. My name is Micah Baum, alongside me is Riley Daniel, and you are watching Tufts JumboCast. Riley, this weekend is one of the Jumbo's last opportunities, really, to prove themselves against some top-quality national opposition going into the NESCAC season.
It really is. I mean, the NESCAC season, it starts right here in Cousins Gymnasium a week from today against Hamilton. And really, for all the strength the NESCAC possesses in almost every sport, volleyball is one of the rare sports where there isn't a lot of top 25 rankings consideration. It's really just the Jumbos and the Cardinals of Wesleyan who contend on the national scale. So the Jumbos will, in all likelihood, not face another ranked opponent until they play the Wesleyan Cardinals here in Cousins, and that's not until the 7th of November. So that is more than 6 weeks away. So it is possible we could not see another ranked team against the Jumbos for another 6 weeks after this weekend. So this is their chance to really cement themselves as a national contender, put some pressure on those who have votes in the national polls, and maybe put themselves in a position to be where they were 2 years ago in hosting NCAA tournament games.
Yeah, definitely. I think Bowdoin will want to have a word as they have recently been receiving votes. They play here at Cousins on October 19th, but still that is a long way away. The Jumbos really need to put some big wins on the board, as they had an interesting season last year, as did the captains. They both started the season ranked in the first preseason ABCA poll. They both gradually fell down the rankings, and they both dropped out of the rankings at the same time, week 9. Ultimately, they ended up both in the NCAA tournament, with Tufts going out in the first round as a kind of shock result to Eastern, whereas CNU fell to Tufts conference rivals Wesleyan in the second round. It's been an interesting one, and they'll be looking to get back to the top of the rankings where they believe they belong. I think it's going to be an interesting one. They have some really top-quality players on both sides of the net.
Yeah, there really are a lot of high-quality players. Let's focus on the captains first, because they're a little bit more rare here on JumboCast airs, and you got to start with the one in the middle, and that's Alicia Dozier, is leading them in almost every offensive statistical category, and that's because she can block everything and she can put everything away. 65 kills through 6 games so far. That is almost unheard of, more than 10 a night. On the other side, defensively, it's the star in Noelle Starr. She does everything defensively for the captains. You look at digs, you look at receipts, you look at really any other stat, including her ability to distribute the ball from the middle, and Noelle Starr is the one to watch. So if you're the Jumbos, you got to prevent Dozier from getting those big kills in the middle, and you have to watch what Noelle Starr is doing at all times. On the other side, Micah, this Jumbos team, they've shown a lot of talent, and they've shown it from a couple faces in particular. If we want to look at the offense, I think we start with Emma Heckman, who has been a real revelation here, now averaging 3.14 points a set, including 2.44 kills per set. So that is really, really a great growth in a jump from her freshman to sophomore year. On the other side, defensively, we'll look, I mean, there's a couple you can look at. I want to focus here on the return of the 5th year in Christine Audette, who's really been good receiving the ball, working from the outside, and always has that kind of clutch, unstatistical, unmeasurable ability to deliver when the Jumbos need her most.
Definitely. We've seen she was one of the best players all around in her junior year. She was injured all of last year. This year she's come back. She hasn't really been able to quite hit the height she has offensively, but defensively she's been a crucial part of the Jumbos lineup so far.
We're going to step aside for the national anthem. When we come back, we'll give you starting lineups, and we'll play some volleyball right here from Cousins. Stay tuned.
National anthem has been played, ringing around Cousins Gymnasium. We did not get a rendition from Mayo and Cam G this time, for which I'm
disappointed.
I'm a bit disappointed, but you know, she has to save her voice. She has to save some of her strength for this game. She's had a fantastic weekend in St. Louis. 12 kills against another 16-ranked Wash U. That was a really breakout game for her. As starting lineups are being announced here. For the captains, it is looking like the two Alyssas, Alyssa Dozier and Alyssa Vitale, are starting, as they have Macy Burke and Audrey Stenger also in, as is Samantha Dorn and Megan James.
Yeah, so no real surprises there. I guess the biggest in that starting lineup would be James, who only had 2 starts coming into the day. Interesting to see her start with Stenger. They have not started together at any point this year, as we now take a look at the Jumbo starting lineup.
Rihanna Liu starting as she typically does as setter. Audette, as you mentioned in pregame, will be a crucial part coming into this. Alina Chi reclaiming her starting place as middle hitter. She had a couple games off in St. Louis. Claire Castor as well, starting in the front row, as is Julie Griffiths. Emma Heckman, as you say, leading the Jumbos in kills and points so far this year, will be a crucial part. And Dylan Wisenant, still playing as a libero, has really made that spot her own as a first year. Something really impressive. We don't see that often. If you look at common opponents last year, it shows an interesting story. CNU were 5-1 against teams that Tufts, or played both them and Tufts. Tufts only 1-3. CNU got 3 of those wins against UC Santa Cruz. They played their conference rivals in the Coast to Coast Conference.
Yeah, that UC Santa Cruz match, a really interesting match, really represented a turning point, and when things started to slip for that Jumbos team a year ago, was a match in which they lost 3-1, lost all 3 of those sets by 21 points or greater. So they had 21 points but couldn't close the door in 3 different sets in that match against UC Santa Cruz here at Cousins. That kind of was emblematic of the problem for this team a year ago. It was close but not quite. If they can do what we started to see them do a little bit in that matchup against CMS in the East-West Classic, which is win the close sets, and even if you're not winning the majority of the points, put yourself in a 5-set match against a team that may be ranked higher than you, this is a team that can go very far.
Yeah, and CNU does not have any 5-set experience so far this year. Tufts does, as you say. They lost 3-2 to number 9 ranked at the time, Claremont Mudd Scripps, in that East-West Classic. Very close game, but again, something you don't love to see, that maybe, that almost nature of the team is still part. So they're still trying to focus on getting over the line, as you say. Or as Coach Cora Thompson said, last season was, as she said, not a typical year for Tufts volleyball. They were 14-11. It's their worst postseason performance since 2018. It is not something that they want to see consistently, and they're really trying to get back up into the heights where they're used to.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't consistency, and I think part of that was the lack of Christine Audette.
Audette involved immediately here. Serve from James. Liu, Audette again, trying to do what she did at the first point of the season with the dig and the kill. Not immediately this time. Heckman now. That one bobbles over and sent straight down by Macy Burke. She'll claim that one.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy from both sides. Both sides with an attempt there to set that ball, but ended up sending 3 balls over respectively. Captain's able to put it away.
James with another serve. This one is long, wisely called by Wisenant.
Yeah, good read from Wisenant. That one looks like the serve attempt was with some spin, but didn't really die at all.
Now it's Audette's turn to serve. Low one, met by James. Kill by Burke again. She's having a great start so far, and now she's going to go back to serve.
Yeah, and that's really just a great finish from Burke. Jumbo's middle blockers there were on the slide. They just couldn't quite put up a strong enough block at the net.
Liu, Heckman goes for the dink, and eventually it comes off.
And that's really been one of the sources of growth for Emma Heckman this year. She had the power from day one, but it's the ability to go with the dink, to go with the drop shot, to use more finesse to get those points.
Wisnen comes out. She coming in to serve for the Jumbos. So much pace on that serve. Now across to Dorn, into She. Caster, the great cross-court hit there.
And I want to go back to that receive there by She. That was all forced by Emma Heckman. Did a great job getting to the pin, funneling that shot cross-court right to She.
She has a great serving record so far in her first year. There's another good one to Vitali. Dorn again. She putting it across for Heckman. Heckman wisely sees the gap.
Great read there from Emma Heckman. She a little too close to the net with that set, but Heckman, eyes up, saw that they were crashing to that left side and put it across the court.
Jumbos again. And this time it's Dozier looking for a first kill on the night. And I think that was 4 touches in the end, so Dozier will get that kill.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there from the captains. Megan James was telling Dozier to let that serve go. She thought it was long. Dozier took it anyway. Captains got lucky there, but it's not the first time we've seen them seemingly not on the same page here in Medford.
Dozier, the first All-American honoree for the captains since 2015. She was second team last year. Chi making her impact known.
Yeah, and if you give Alina Chi the opportunity from that spot, you're giving the Jumbos the point.
She has been an interesting one this year. She was nothing short of an integral part of the team last year. She has seen some minutes reduced as Appa Ibe has come in and played some games, but she is definitely trying to make her mark, show Cora Thompson that she is still the woman for the job. Dozier doing her best as well. Again, she straight into Dozier, and that's going to be a real battle tonight.
Yeah, I think that probably is where this game will be won and lost. The two stars in the middle block, Alina Chi and Alyssa Dozier, and that time Dozier did a really good job first with that swing to get it past the initial block of Chi, who was able to deflect it back to Audette, and then responding to Chi's attempt to put it away with a crucial block of her own.
Dozier already with 12 solo blocks on the year. That is ridiculous stats, especially from someone who's 5'11", not the tallest, although certainly not the shortest. Adams now with the serve for the captains. Into Norris, who's come in. Caster, that one miscued and straight into the net.
And that's the sort of thing that the Jumbos have been known to kind of struggle with at times. It's that ambitious attempt, that just trying to do a little too much. Claire Caster there, you're probably not going to hit a winner from that spot, so just get it over, get set defensively.
Here's Norris looking for Kamji for a first kill of the game. They're going to call, I think that was either carry or net touch.
I think it was a net touch there on Norris. I think she hit the net on the way down. It was a good set, just could not quite avoid that bottom netting.
The introduction of Kamji into the rotation has allowed Caster to stay on her preferred outside position. Here she is, not the ideal dig. Audette going to do her best with it from the back row. Into Starr, to James on the outside, over the block, great placement.
And, I mean, stop me if you've heard it again, but Alyssa Dozier leads to another point for the captains. Her deflection on that initial hit took all the juice out of the ball, allowed the captains basically too free to get the ball onto the ground on the Jumbo side.
That's a long one from Adams. Wisnen getting pumped up with the correct call. And it's very tightly knit in the opening stages here. Caster now back to serve. She wasn't initially one of the servers in that first game against WPI, but they have switched around the rotation to allow her to get a service. She's one of the best servers on the team.
Has struggled so far. Only 3 aces compared to 4 service errors on the year.
And there's another service error, as you called it there.
I hate it when I'm right.
I'm sure she will too. Now it will be Noelle Starr's turn from behind the court. Down straight into Caster. Gray's checked in. Across to Kamji. Well dug. Miscommunication from the captains and send over the free ball. Kamji again. That one is long. You have to say, Kamji has been doing so well. Her hit percentage is, I believe, second in the NESCAC behind only her teammate, Julia Griffiths. She has been on fire, but at some point she's going to have to return to her to the law of averages. Maybe this is just a potential come down, but she's going to do her best to make it not happen.
That one wasn't the greatest set there from Ella Norris. That was a much better set that she can put away. I think one thing you got to note is just the pace with which this game is being played. 16 points in 11 minutes. That is, there's not really many back and forth points right now.
This battle of two sleeping giants is there's that right side block we saw so much against WPI. Camji and Griffiths combining spectacularly.
And that's what the Jumbos do so well. If you push that pass out wide, Griffiths can slide and really close off the entirety of the cross court.
She with the serve again. Pushed over. Again, great placement. Couldn't get the dive. That was Castor. I think that was Adams with the final touch for the captains. She checks out. Stenger will be back to serve for the captains this time. Wisnant stumbles over to get it. Norris across to Gray, blocked at the net, and 3 Jumbos went for it, and none of them came up.
I'm thinking, judging by the reaction I'm seeing from the Jumbos bench, that that one was going out if Wisnant didn't get to it. But the Jumbos might want to think about a timeout here.
So much pace on that serve, a bit too much in the end.
Yeah, that was a rocket of a shot there from Audrey Stenger. Just couldn't keep it down, but if you can do that consistently, especially if you can put it in play, it's so hard to get a serve like that back and let alone do anything offensive with it. Best case scenario with that is you're probably sending a free ball over.
Speaking of good servers, here is Rihanna Liu. Into Adams. Across to James. Again with the tip. Great dive by Liu to keep that alive. Heckman now. Again, great kill.
Yeah, Emma Heckman now with her 3rd kill so far today. That one, you could just sense the way she kind of stutters into it, loads up, and then just explodes off the ground.
Jumbo's refusing to let the captains pull away in this first set. Dipping serve by Liu. Kept alive. Quick 1-2. Burke sends it over, and now back to Liu. Griffiths blocked. Sent to Griffiths again. Goes long, and that one is well long.
And I really like that play there. The dipping serve from Liu with the stack setup. So you have 4 close to the net for a potential dip over the net if the captains, like they did, decide to go on 2 to try and catch the Jumbos out.
Captains back to the start of their rotation. James serving again. Castor to Liu. Heckman. And another one goes in the books.
And you could tell just how well that was going. Jumbos had 2 options there. They had Heckman, which they took, but they also had Julia Griffiths on the overlap there if they wanted it.
Audette checking back into the game for Gray. That one into James. Vitale to Burke, again with the dink.
How did she save that?
Unbelievable. I think they called that she didn't quite save that. I was not sure what to call there. Wisnant did her best, and I thought she almost got away with it. Referee disagreed.
Yeah, I think the Jumbo's a little bit curious.
Liu to Heckman behind her. Whistle goes. They're going to call that for the Jumbos as well. She coming back in. It's a bit confusing. She wearing the libero jersey. I don't think she is playing as the registered libero. It's a bit confusing.
No, I don't believe so. I believe it is only Wisnant that is a libero for the Jumbos.
Vitale does her best to reach that, and big miscommunication. Dorn couldn't get into the vicinity with the scorer's table in the way.
And Emma Heckman just continues her phenomenal start to this season. We talked about it a little bit in the pregame, but she was averaging more than 10 kills a night as that one goes out of play.
They did call a tip on the net block there. Christopher Newport just keeping the Jumbos at arm's length.
But Emma Heckman already 4 kills and would have had a 5th if it wasn't for that violation a couple plays ago there. Oh, correction. My stats are just a minute behind. She now does have the 5th kill.
Looking for a 6th there. Couldn't quite get it. Free ball sent over into Audette. Some out-of-rotation play from the Jumbos. Heckman going for the 6th again. Great work by James, but that one, that was Dozier, couldn't keep it alive all the way.
Yeah, Emma Heckman just continuing. Seemingly every time it touches her right hand, it finds the ground.
Heckman did not serve a lot last year. She only registered her first collegiate ace in that St. Louis game, I believe, or in one of those games in St. Louis. Couldn't get another one here. Here's Dorn on the right side. Still alive. Across to Hanley, and that's a missed block at the net.
Yeah, and a little bit of miscommunication there. Jumbos were seemingly thinking that that was 4 touches there from the captains. Referee is not interested. Be interested to see which of these two coaches will take a timeout, because obviously look at the score. It's 15-14. Captain's only 10 points away from the set, but it's only a 1-point set out there.
Adams, that one chips the net. She had to be on her guard. Audette from the backcourt. That one sits up on the net. Takes a break. That one pushed well into the backcourt. Now Vitale to Dozier, and there it is again.
Don't know if I've ever seen that before, Micah, where it just sits like that.
Yeah. I think the players were about as surprised as we were, as there is that timeout you were talking about, called by Cora Thompson.
Yeah, you had the feeling that at this point in the set, whichever team went more than a point down was going to call a timeout, just because it is on pins and needles already in Cousins, and you get the feeling that if you let either of these teams get more than 2 or 3 points ahead, they might just run out this set, especially with the sort of service talent we have on both sides.
Yeah, Tufts sitting, or both teams sitting on 9 kills so far. The difference really is in attack errors. The Jumbos with 5 to the captain's 1. That is really costing them. They're lucky, you could argue, to be only behind by 2. As, again, Christopher Newport hitting .4, Jumbo's hitting .174. So Christopher Newport being a lot more efficient with their attack attempts so far. Cora Thompson really needs to, yeah.
And I think if you're the Jumbos, what's really concerning is you're down 2 points. Currently, you are out-serving Christopher Newport. They have 3 service errors to your 1. You get the feeling Christopher Newport will start to figure out their service. Service, one of those things that when you come in on a long bus ride, like the trip up from Newport News is, maybe your serves aren't on immediately. It takes you a set or 2 to get warm. And if the captains get warm with their service, the Jumbos are really going to be on their toes, having to scramble for every point.
I will say, as someone who is from near Christopher Newport, I hope they did not take the bus up. That is about a 10-hour drive.
Well, I saw a bus around here earlier. I don't know if it was theirs. Could have been one of the other teams. There are 6 teams here in Boston for the tournament.
Dozier going to improvise it over. Vitale. This one to Hanley. Straight into Norris. Now Kamji with the improvise. James this time. That one had so much power on it.
Yeah, James with a nice kill there. Really does a good job getting wide. Allows her to come into that with some momentum. Just find the floor. And a quick run here of 3 straight points for the captains.
Adams again. She lines this one up for Castor. That one goes off the block and out.
And that's, yeah, it's a Jumbo's point, but that's really been the problem in the last, say, 5 or 6 receives, is the ability to get a clean receive that your setter can actually do something with. Because right now, pretty much every set is being done facing the back wall. And when you do that, it makes it infinitely harder on your setter to set up your outside hitters for a kill.
Vitale, quick one to Dozier, but that one, for once, off the mark.
Yeah, it's a great set there from Vitale. Dozier was ready for it, but a little too amped. She kind of looks like me when I'm on the first tee. Just a little too much pull on that.
Castor, that one had a lot of pace on it. Into Vitale, cross to James, off the Jumbo's block. Kept alive. Here's Gray. That one into the block. Kamji with fantastic reflexes. Pushed over by Lou. Dozier again took a touch off the Jumbo's block, and that one will go to the captains.
Dozier with the kill there, but that point was saved by Starr, diving across from the left side to save that serve up the middle. She started on that left baseline, ended up 2/3 of the way across the court before that ball got over.
Cora Thompson will not be happy with how the Jumbos have looked coming out of that timeout. Gray trying to tip it over. Now to Kamji, and there's that kill.
Yeah, and she just springs up, almost like she's LeBron up there, just going up. And when she has that height, it's so much harder when you add those extra 2-3 inches to get the block up and deny.
She was a high jumper in high school, we must not forget, as that one takes a touch off the net. Cross to Hanley, takes a touch, and goes inbounds anyway.
And, I mean, we talked about the Jumbos having some trouble on the left side so far today, or so far this season, and it's really been a stark comparison. The Jumbos now net down 6 points while Abigail Gray is on the floor.
Norris to Kamji, gets another kill on the board. That's what the Jumbos need right now. Captains won't be happy to see that Kamji's picking up. They will be happy to see her leaving the court. Not so much that Emma Heckman's come back on, though.
Yeah, I don't think if you're the captains, you want to send a ball anywhere near the Jumbos' right side right now, because between her being Kanji and Heckman now, I believe that is, if I'm reading this correctly here, that is now 8 kills combined of the Jumbos' 18 points.
Vitale to Burke on the slide.
Great
Wisnant.
save.
Unbelievable from Wisnant. This one goes the other way. Good block. They try again. Now it's tipped, and again, just read the pattern perfectly, did James.
Yeah, and James, we saw her the last time she had it over there, just uncork one down the line. This time, that little dip over the front block, and if you have that mix of power and finesse, it is so hard to defend against.
Certainly exemplify power and finesse from the serve. Goes more for the finesse, I would say, on this one. Heckman from the middle, not her typical spot. Now she slides over. Doran looking for a kill. Wisnant to Heckman. Into James. Vitale to Burke. Blocked by Griffiths.
Great block there from Julia Griffiths.
Doran now, and the captains are within 4 points of the set.
Looked like 3 for a second before the scoreboard operator fixed it. Timeout there from Cora Thompson, and it's just not working right now for the Jumbos. It seems as if their kind of typical plays aren't getting the sort of results we've seen. We've seen that kind of push wide to Emma Heckman, the slide with Julia Griffiths be so effective in the game against MIT, in the match Wednesday night against Roger Williams. But it seems as if the captains, to give them credit, have done a really good job in the film room. They're ready for that slide. They're ready for the short play to Alina Chi. And if you can get a read on that first attempt, the Jumbos have struggled consistently all year at getting those blocks on the cross-court kills.
And I think part of the reason they're so used to seeing those slides, seeing those 1-2s, is that they do it a lot themselves. They have players like Dozier and Burke in the middle who can anticipate these sets coming from Vitale, or they can slide to the right. It's really I would say double threat, but something like a triple threat when you have so many players who can do it as well. Vitale is an interesting one. She actually coming in from D1 at Lafayette College, replacing one of the best setters in D3 in Sammy Carroll, who the captains lost after last year. Vitale averaging over 9 assists per set, already has 9 in this one. Jumbos really need to get things together if they want to keep this first set alive. They do not have the best record coming back from one set down. James now into Gray. Lou. Gray again. That's what the Jumbos needed as that one goes into the stands.
Yeah, and a different set of confidence there from Gray. The first couple of times she went for a swing today, just didn't seem to be confident in herself. That time, no hesitation, right down the line. And I mean, you would talk about picture perfect. That one could not have been placed better.
Audette now to Burke on the slide. Good dig by Audette, but couldn't get it up as much to the side.
And I don't know how many, because I haven't been tallying exactly, but it feels like at least a half dozen kills from this captain's team that have gone via the cross court.
Yeah.
It's definitely where they have found a weakness in the film in this Jumbo's defensive lineup and have taken advantage of it. But despite all of that, they only have a 2-point lead here in this first set.
Jumbos will be happy to see Matsushi back to serve, one of the best servers on the team this year. Straight into Dorn, trying to break that up at the first opportunity. Heckman, that one goes wide. They will call that in favor of the captains in the end.
It was the right call, but if you're the Jumbos, as much as it's now a 6th error on the attack, you'll live with that from Emma Heckman because 9 times out of 10, she's putting that away.
Vitali now with the serve into Shi, to Lou. Caster, that one was going long, but James felt the need to get a touch on it. She'll be disappointed with that one, I think.
Yeah, and for all that we've talked about the Jumbo struggles, the captains have really struggled with communication in this first set. There's been at least 3 or 4 of those, as they want to talk about it now, where Jumbos have been hitting a ball that's going out, and a captain has interceded, made a play on it, and they've ended up losing the point. And it really sucks when you lose points because of physical errors, but what's unacceptable at this level is to lose points based on mental errors.
Yeah, and you can see there's definitely some nerves, not just in the players, but from the coaches. 3 timeouts already in just the first set. They know how much this game means, as this is a winnable game for both of them that would do them wonders in the national standings. And there's just so much riding on this, even at this early stage, even out of conference.
It will, and I think both of these coaches know the importance of a first set win, because suddenly you need theoretically 40 points to win the match, versus you lose the first set, you need at a bare minimum 65. It's a giant difference.
Certainly is, as captains looking for just 2 more to close this first set out. Heckman is back to serve. A lot riding on this one.
Big opportunity to show off her serving skills.
It's a deep one into James. It's a good dig. Hanley goes off the block, and captains have 3 match points.
Yeah, 3 set points here for the captains. And just a great receive there from James, who has really, with exception of that one service error, done everything for the captains.
CNU will play again directly after this back-to-back against Calvin. We will be bringing you that here on JumboCast as well. Caster, that's not the ideal receive, and that one goes straight to the captains. First set into the team from Newport News. We will take a short break and get back to you to bring you the second set live from Cousins. Welcome back here to Cousins Gymnasium as the Jumbos are trying to regroup against a very spirited captain's performance in that first set. So it's going to be an interesting challenge as both teams are really putting everything on the line because they know that everything already is on the line, so to speak, with regards to the national rankings. Jumbos have yet to dig themselves out of a hole this year. They have not won any of the games in which they've trailed. Last season they were 4-9 when losing the first set. CNU were only 18-6 when winning the first set, so there is purview for them to collapse. They are looking pretty confident so far.
They are, and I think the difference unequivocally in that first set was in attack errors. You look at the stats, 6-2 in favor of CNU with 6 attack errors on the Jumbos. Now, my math's not great. I am a liberal arts major, but I believe that was a 4-point set, if I'm not wrong.
Really something that Corey Thompson will have emphasized in that mid-set huddle. But his fresh start now is Keller Mobley is coming in to play back row for the Jumbos. That one is a good first serve from Lou. The captains couldn't get it under control.
Yeah, and I like that move from Cora Thompson to bring in Mobley because you do need a little bit more defensive structure in that back row. It had been a weakness we had harped on in the first set. So if Mobley can provide a little more defensive stability, then that's a move you have to make, even if you sacrifice a little bit of offensive ability for it.
I think if you ask me, that one's a fantastic kill down the line from the captains. But if you ask me, something Mobley brings to the back row is that offensive willpower. She had some great kills from the back row against WPI, really made her mark. Maybe more of an aggressive move than it seems. So that one goes into Audette. Lou, back to Audette. And the dink was well misjudged there by Audette. Captains will gladly take that point. Burke now back to serve for the captains. Knuckleball, well received by Audette. Griffiths on the slide, there it is.
First time all day. We've seen so many times over the years the effectiveness of the Jumbo slide attack. There's the first time we saw it. We saw them fake it a couple times in that first set. This time they commit to it. Griffiths with a wide open cross-court lane for the kill.
Good serve there by Audette. Now to Dorn. Wisenant gets the arms up. Lou, that one, well, big miscommunication there between Lou and Griffiths. It was a strange set for her to deal with.
Yeah, Lou went to set that ball. Julia Griffiths was already in midair when Lou sent the set across. I don't know what the plan they were coming up with was, but neither of them were on the same page.
I think she had just pulled much farther wider than Lou had expected. Or maybe Lou was further to the right than she had expected. Either way, looking for redemption here to Heckman. Nothing doing this time. Dozier pushing it over, and Wisenant called for it, couldn't get there.
Yeah, and I think that's just a little bit of freshman inexperience from Wisenant. She called for it, right? And yes, she probably gets to that ball most times, but that's a ball Rihanna Lou can get to 100% of the time. And you get Wisenant with her defensive ability, wants to make the play every time, but sometimes you just got to defer, step in, make the play.
Mobley now looking for her first involvement. Set across to Dorn. Into Lou. Wisenant playing setter this time. That one into the block. Mobley, great work there. Tries to complete the play. Not quite. Heckman with the deep free ball into Vitale. Hanley off the block. Now we got some chaos points going on. Heckman, there it is.
Heckman that time with redemption. Made a mistake a little bit earlier in the point with sending that free ball right back. This time, no mistake, her 7th kill of the day.
It's interesting, something you typically expect from most teams. They get most of their kills from their outsides. That one is handled in interesting fashion across to Hanley. Now to Mobley again, straight off the block. Huge block there by Dorn and Dozier.
Yeah, and I think that one, a little bit too much telegraphed there from the Jumbos. Everyone in the building knew that ball was going out wide to Claire Castor.
As I was saying, the captains tend to get most of their kills from their middles. Burke and Dozier, as we've seen so far in this game, have been outstanding as that one goes wide from Audette.
Yeah, Audette put some spin on that, trying to fool the captains. Good idea, less than great execution.
And as in the last set, Captains taking control proceedings early on. That one goes long from Adams. Gives the Jumbos a window to get back involved. Thompson with some words for Lou quickly before Heckman can get the serve in.
And this is really where if Emma Heckman wants to take her game to the next level, she can make the biggest change.
A good serve with so much height to start out with, and they're going to call that, I think that was a plane violation.
It was, and it was all set up by that serve. Forced the Captains all the way back. Didn't really give them much to do on the dig.
And the crazy thing about Emma Heckman is that when she serves like that, it looks like it's going down all the way. She just has so much height to start out with. As Dozier trying to break the pattern. This one wide from Mobley. Kept alive. Great work there by Vitale. And then the kill from Adams comes off two Jumbos players and hits the back wall.
And that's really demoralizing if you're the Jumbos. Did a great job forcing them into what should have been a free ball in effect. But sometimes a little too much aggression, like we saw there. Two Jumbos went for a block, and in the end, they end up deflecting it all the way back to the back wall.
Starr with the serve. And more miscommunication between Norris and Mobley. And that one goes straight back to the captain's side of the court.
Yeah, we saw Norris get pulled from the rotation rather quick in that first set. Be interested to see if that stays the same in the second. Great get there from Audette.
Sheaf sends over the free ball. Vitale across to James. There's that block, but too much on it from James. And Captains are starting to pull away.
Yeah, Captains just, it's methodical. Great dig. Ball goes right to the middle. Set pushed wide one of the two ways. And usually a middle blocker all the way out wide ends up killing it.
Jumbos will be thankful for that service error from Starr.
The service error margin so far is 6-2. It's really the only place where the Jumbos are getting a large gap.
Mobley now back to serve. Into James. Across to Hanley. Mobley with a great dig. Goes all the way over. James again. Did it take a touch? It did not, decides the referee. The Jumbos celebrate a point.
Yeah, I mean, Mobley single-handedly wins that one. With the great serve, the great dig, and then the attack error there from the Captains.
Another decent serve. Hanley tries to go all the way across the court. Into Shi. Gray now into the block. Goes behind her back to get that dig, and Kamji tries to put it away. Not yet. Now James into the block, and off the shoulder of Kamji. Couldn't get her body underneath it.
They're still finding the floor right now, the Captains. But despite that, there is definitely a noticeable difference in the block from this Jumbos team in the second set. They're not giving up those cross-court shots they were giving up in the first.
Stenger back into the game for the Captains. Low serve. Norris across to Kamji. Great left-handed kill.
Great left-handed kill from Kanji, and a great assist there from Norris over the top, right into a Kanji going in step, and hits that one in stride. No question that one was going to find the floor.
Chi now back to serve. No spin on it, and maybe could have used a bit of topspin there.
It's a good serve, though, because if you get just the tiniest bit of spin, that one's probably kissing that back line.
Now James with the Captain's lead sitting at 3. More spin on that one. As tried to go for the cheeky kill there. Got it in the end to Vitale.
She got it. Question to me, I don't know about you, Micah. That looked to me like it might have been a plane violation.
It looked like it could have been. I've seen a couple of those, especially in the WPI game, that the ref chose not to call with the
and
just hit downward.
Being mentioned by the Jumbos bench as they make a substitution, bringing Claire Castor back in.
Cora Thompson not looking best pleased at the moment.
Well, how can you be?
No. I mean, for that matter, neither is Lindsay Bursch. There's James with the lofted serve over. Griffiths, quick 1-2. Macy Burke going the other way. She does it even better.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. when you get yourself in a position like the Jumbos had when they set that ball to Julia Griffiths, as Cora Thompson is livid right now, you have to put that away. If you get an opportunity from that spot, it has to find the floor. You cannot give up points like that against a team the quality of this captain's team.
Yeah, Macy Burke just exemplifying what to do in that situation. It's been a real challenge for Tufts to deal with them.
And I gotta say, in my 4 years here, I can really only think of one other time where I've seen Cora Thompson this livid, and that was last year in the game that we were talking about in the pregame when we were looking about common opponents against UC Santa Cruz, a game very similar to this one in which the Jumbos had 4 sets, all of which were decided by less than 5 points, and ended up losing in 4 sets.
The captains are really spreading the kills around, as you say. James with 6 now, but Dozier, Burke, and Hanley all on 4. Dorn not to be outdone with 3. It's really a challenge when you're coming up against such a multifaceted offense as the captains have. James looking to add to her kill count from the back row. We'll have to serve first. Into Castor as she runs into Wisenant. Gray tries to make us forget about that and does a good job.
And that was a rarity. That was the first time in a long time the Jumbos have been able to get the ball past the block of the captains. Captains already with 5 blocks put away today, but it seems as if every single swing the Jumbos take is hitting a block and getting all the juice taken out of it.
Yeah, Gray's done a decent job so far of finding the down-the-line kills, which are so hard to do consistently. Here's Burke on the slide. Heckman is well positioned. Again, miscommunication. Wisenant gets run over in the middle of the court. Across the door, and she has to backhand that one over. All sorts of miscommunication on both sides into the block. Lou to Heckman. That one goes out. No touch.
Jumbos wanted a touch, didn't get it. And you gotta say, the way that point was played, it seemed as if both teams were not speaking the same language to each other. There was players running into each other, players running through each other.
It felt almost like the Washington Generals started playing volleyball, but against themselves.
Not gonna lie, would pay good money to watch Jaden Daniels play some volleyball.
I was talking about the Washington Generals more than the Washington Commanders.
Either way.
I would pay that as well, as a Commanders fan.
I feel like we need more confetti to talk about the Generals.
Dozier, again, looking for the quick kill. Can't quite get it. Castor now, over the block, does a good job as Star sprints to keep that alive. Vitali does her best, keeps it in play. Lou with the dump, there it is. She's been looking for that kill so far this season, hasn't been able to get it this game, and gets one on the board.
That is a great play by Lou, and it was all set up by Julia Griffiths doing the little thing with that overlap as if she's going to make the slide, drew 2 blockers out wide, opened up the middle for Rihanna Lou.
That serve by Odette, received. Dozier again, miscued.
And for all the hype we gave Alyssa Dozier in the pregame, that's now 2 attacking errors in 2 sets.
Into James. Vitali across the Dorn this time. That one goes long. Good call by Lou.
And the biggest change since the timeout, communication.
With the exception of that one point.
With the exception of that one point, as a timeout going to be called the other way. And for the first time all night, a little bit of momentum with the Jumbos.
And you can see just, again, how nervous Coach Birch is for the captains. They wants to call that timeout before the Jumbos can get that lead back, as it's going to be very tight going into these final points or final half of the second set, you would expect.
That would be a fair assessment. And looking back here, I mean, you want to talk about leads. The last time the Jumbos had a lead, 5-4 in the first set. The captains have led the whole way since.
They have no intention of letting that streak slip. Odette has every intention of making that streak slip, meanwhile.
All right, I'm going out on prediction here. She's going to put this one with a ton of spin, get herself a service ace.
Knowing how commentator curses work as we do. It's a bold prediction.
If I have Jake Flossie levels of skills, this will go into the net.
If you're curious what that means, tune into the next game. No ace there. There's a setter's dump from Vitali. Heckman into the block again. Blocks for Christopher Newport have been so good so far this afternoon.
Yeah, it's his 7th block now for the captains. And a real good set there. Pushed it wide, allowed Heckman to come into it, but when you're trying to go 1v2 from the pin, it's very hard.
Vitali into Wisenant. To Heckman in the middle, and another solo block from Alyssa Dozier. That's why we hyped her up.
Yeah, Alyssa Dozier, she's good offensively, but where she really makes her money, or because this is college, makes
D3.
her fame,
D3 now,
is on the defensive end with those highlight reel blocks.
More miscommunication for the Jumbos, creeping back into their game. Vitali to Hanley, into Audette. Now Audette from the back row. Good depth on it, received by Vitali. Hanley into the block. Almost Christopher Newport-esque and Tufts-esque miscommunication from the captains.
Yeah, it was like they switched teams for a second. Jumbos suddenly bring the high block, and the captains stared at each other like they were counting sheep until eventually Dozier stuck out a set on 3.
She, with a 2-point deficit coming into her service run. Dorn, that might have been going long. Audette taking no chances. Heckman over the block. Dozier into the block. Still alive. Now Castor through the block this time. We're getting all the prepositions. Hanley, and that one goes off of the block. Out for a Christopher Newport point.
5, I believe, in that point. So 5 different prepositions at the block for Micah. We'll see if he can beat it on the next point.
I mean, but the block really has been one of the stories of the night for both teams.
I don't think it's it's the story of the night.
I say night, afternoon. Close enough. Castor with a set from well outside the court.
She was standing basically on top of Cora Thompson.
And there's another missed block. They won't call that 4 hits. It is great work by Castor to keep it alive. Can make it 2 times lucky, can Wisenant or Lou.
And just as the Jumbos went on a run to get themselves back within a point, the captains respond immediately with 3 straight of their own.
You have to say masterful timeout called by Lindsey Birch. That one, though, not what she would have liked to see. Straight into the net from Adams.
And the service game, probably the biggest equalizer in the Jumbos' favor so far today. Now 7-2 service errors, with the captains being the high side like they are in every other statistical category.
Heckman, so much dip on that serve. Appy Ibe, that one straight into the block. It goes back for Christopher Newport.
And I don't really know what you can do because that was as close to a perfect serve as you can get from Emma Heckman. Set them up perfectly with a free ball and just not able to take advantage of the opportunity.
String Appy Ibe has come back into the rotation. Looks like for Alina Chi. We'll see how that plays out over the rest of this set and indeed this match.
I mean, I feel like you got to try it at this point because the middle block is almost non-existent right now for the Jumbos.
Into Audette. Norris. This one to Cam G. That one goes off the attempted dig from Vitali, and Jumbos, again, needed that kind of shot in the arm.
And if you get the ball to Norris with a nice dig, that should be the look every time. Right there, let the high jumper go do her work because she can just hit down on the ball.
Tufts only with 2 total blocks in this match. More miscommunication as this one goes to Castor from the backcourt and it's long, or wide, excuse me.
And it's the second time I'm going to say it, but it's true again. Clara Castor tried to do way too much with that hit. You're coming from the back row on 3. Just get the ball over without it being a free ball.
Stanger once again for the captains. 5 points away from claiming the second set. Norris into Appy Ibe, blocked again. Norris to Gray this time. This one evades the block, can't get it inside the line.
Good idea there, and Gray probably wants that one back as another timeout from Cora Thompson. The Jumbos can feel this set slipping away. The crowd, which is probably close to 50-50, is getting on their feet in celebration as the captain's only 4 points away from going up 2-0.
Gotta say, pretty impressive. I see a person wearing a Noel Star jersey, number 2, in the stands below us. That's a pretty impressive commitment to get something like that coming into this one. Is pretty good traveling crowd for a team from about 470 miles away.
It is, and I gotta say, we're talking about the benefit to the crowd for Christopher Newport. You can't help but think this is disappointing for the Jumbos. There are maybe 24 Jumbos fans in the stands here on homecoming weekend. And for all of you Jumbos fans listening at home, I mean, we love you watching us, but if you're in the area, come on down. They could use your support.
A little over half a dozen of those are some of the players from the men's soccer team who will be in action tomorrow and Sunday.
I think the other dozen is the women's basketball team in the front row.
JumboCast will be bringing you 6 more games over the next, 48 hours after this. We have another neutral game after this, CNU versus Calvin in volleyball. Then we have men's and women's soccer versus Colby on Saturday afternoon, men's football versus Bowdoin Saturday night, and then men's and women's soccer versus Conn College on Sunday afternoon.
So what you're saying is they should just sit on their couch and watch JumboCast all day this weekend.
Essentially, I think that's not a bad idea.
Well, you heard it from Micah.
There's an ace from Stenger. Puts the captains within 3.
Yeah,
that timeout,
service ace of the day for the captains.
That timeout did not have the initial desired effect for Cora Thompson. Gray passed the block this time, though. Now James, again, nice idea. This time out to Kamji, off the block. Gray thought it was going out, and it didn't quite go there.
That sure looked out from here.
I couldn't quite see it because from my angle, the up referee is blocking where that was, but Gray seemed sure when she made the call. Captains were confident as soon as it hit the ground, though. Stenger again. 2 points shy. Gray off the block. Vitale to Adams in the back row and to Castor. Norris behind Kamji does a good job with it. Now it's James, and again goes straight under the jumbo block.
Yeah, and the Jumbos just getting killed momentum-wise. And looking to change things up, gonna make a substitution. Ruby Flath gonna check in here.
I think this is her first action on the team. She is 6'4", one of the 2 tallest players in the conference.
Can actually tell you this is her 3rd appearance on the year. Has played 2 sets so far.
First appearance on Cousins. At the least, as Wisnan does a great job diving for that. Can't keep it alive as the late gamble from Cora Thompson does not pay off. They will have to lick their wounds, will the Jumbos, and come back to this one in the 3rd set. We will too. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the 3rd set shortly. Welcome back here to Cousins Gymnasium as the Jumbos find themselves in a 2-set hole up against the captains of Christopher Newport, who are looking to make what is technically an upset based on the most recent polls. Christopher Newport dropped out, have not received any votes in the most recent one. The Jumbos with 18, but this would most likely flip-flop their positions at the least, if not catapult CNU higher.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, a story in 2 parts, and I think you got to start with the coaches, because that timeout there from Christopher Newport was nothing short of masterful. After the timeout, they finished the set on an 11-3 run to close it out, so perfect timeout there from the coaching staff. But on the other hand, looking at the stat line, and one thing jumps out, it's the hitting percentage. CNU at a respectable 286.
I think more than respectable even.
Yeah, that's quite well. Jumbos, well, this is one to forget. They're hitting .042.
For those of you who may not be familiar with that stat, that is kills minus errors over total attempts. So that basically means that Jumbos 4% are getting kills minus their errors. I'm not explaining that very well, but suffice it to say, you want it around 22, 23 is probably average, maybe.
It basically says if you take 25 swings, you're going to get exactly 1 more to be a kill than you are errors.
That's a good explanation.
Which is not good.
Not a great
even for
stat.
maybe a JV team.
CNU, meanwhile, doing much better on that attacking efficiency stat. Burke looking to get big involvement here. Didn't have much to say in the second set. Jumbos haven't rotated anyone so far. Is that one from Heckman, again, miscued wide.
Yeah, Emma Heckman got a nice set, but you could see the moment that ball left her hand that it was going well wide, and kind of been the story of the day for the Jumbos.
Appy Ibe remaining in for Alina Chi. Here's Norman, who's actually checked in. That one again, the block for Christopher Newport is impeccable.
Yeah, it has been just unbelievable from the captains. And really, she's been unbelievable. The one serving back there, Megan James.
Another good serve. This one sent all the way across to Norman. Gets just the right height on it, and that one will be a good one for the Jumbos to record.
And that one good, and it was interesting because James had the length to get it, but she laid out, and it just went right between her 2 arms there. And when you're a team in the situation the Jumbos are in, you take those 100% of the time.
Norman now looking to do some damage from behind the service line. Burke on the slide again. Lou finds it. Now to Heckman. Back on the preferred right side. Gets a lot of power on it, but CNU get just enough to get it back. Now Lou again to Heckman. That one goes off the block, and that's exactly what you wanted to see.
And that was really what we haven't seen at all today. A great dig there. Gets it to Rihanna Lou onto the beautiful little slide, and Emma Heckman comes in from the pin to put it away.
Norman again with the serve into Stenger. Vitale to Dorn. Can't quite put it away, or will eventually after the touch off Wisnant. Dorn led the team in kills last year. Hasn't been the primary target this year, but showing her worth certainly with that point.
And a better read there defensively from the Jumbos. Forced it to Wisnant, just couldn't quite get a clean dig on it.
Burke. Wisnant does her best. Audette looking for Heckman. That one, not sure what she was trying to do there. She just palmed it straight into the waiting block of the captains.
Well, I think she was trying to find the gap between the front line and the back line, but when you palm it, you have no control over spin, velocity, or location.
Lou pushes it across to Audette. Block again. Dozier is getting hype after that one.
And why shouldn't she? That's her 3rd solo block of the day for Alyssa Dozier.
She was the Coast-to-Coast Rookie of the Year in her first year. All-American second team. She is really showing her credentials today. Audette has moved to the front row. That one eventually goes through the block for once.
And, well, that was a nice finish from Audette. The celebration, less nice. Accidentally caught Akwaegbe in the face.
She getting a lot of pace on the serve. This one across to Dorn. Can't get anywhere near that. Could Rihanna Liu.
Where is the Jumbo's block? Because it hasn't been there for, I don't know, what is it, an hour now?
And it was interesting. In the WPI game we saw here in their first game on Cousins, the right side block was not the issue. It was more the left side block. But both side blocks have seemed to have gone missing in this game. Odette, that one looked to have taken a touch off the block, and indeed it did.
And maybe that's the way back. Maybe you just force feed Christina Odette, who has the experience, who's played in plenty of games like this, to get yourselves back into it.
Something we haven't mentioned, but Jumbos have 16 underclass players out of a roster of 21. Heckman potentially showing some of her inexperience there. Only a sophomore is hard to believe. Odette is the only returning graduate student. Alina Chi, the only senior. There is...
Now, if my math is right, that would mean they would not be able to field any rotation that did not have an underclassman on it.
Correct. It's not to say this team is 100% inexperienced. A lot of first years got a lot of play time last year, but they don't have the wealth of experience that maybe someone like Alyssa Vitale, the grad student D1 player on the other side, has. Is none of them can get near at that time. Jumbos will take the point gladly.
And that is a very, very important point, and I think that's probably the reasoning for Cora Thompson's scheduling this season. She wanted her team to get some real tough experience because in the end, no one remembers your regular season standings. They remember, did you put a number on the banner? And to get your team best prepared for November is to make them grind through 2 months of a regular season.
Dozier looking for another kill. Now across to Norman. Block was mistimed for once from the captains. Now to James. So dangerous on that outside. And again, puts another kill in the books.
Yeah, James just been locked in from the start now. That is now 8 kills for her on the day.
Ruby Flath has checked in again. She has 2 kills so far on the year.
James, coming into today, had 8 kills on the season. She has 8 kills in 2.5 sets.
Griffiths trying to answer straight back, saying, you want a good middle blocker? I'm a good middle blocker too. Now Api Ibe is going to get her chance to say that as well.
And Griffiths could really use a good serving run here. Has struggled in her service so far to start the season.
It's a decent start. Vitale back to Hanley. Audette receives. Norris to Norman. Into the block again, but not in bounds this time. Jumbos are seemingly happy that, or just relieved that didn't stay in bounds.
They are, and I think that's better. It starts with the service game, but it's Christine Audette really doing everything right now in this third set from the back row.
There's that block. Api Ibe and Norman fired up after that.
And the Jumbos now with a chance to take their first lead in a set since 5-4 in the first.
This could be potentially a big turning point in the match. Flat serve from Griffiths to James. Not much on it. So Api Ibe has gone down on the far side of the court. They're going to call that play dead. That is not something you want to see from the Jumbos at this point.
No, it's not. And while the trainer tends to hurt, we're going to step aside for a short break.
Api Ibe able to walk off to receive treatment on the far side. Chi comes back into the rotation.
Griffiths will once again serve at 8-8 in the third set.
Similar serve to last time. Vitale to Burke. And that's not what you want to see. The Jumbos that may have just killed their momentum a bit with the injury. Captain's taking full advantage.
And a really nice hit there from Vitale. That set was behind her. Had to almost throw that thing, but was able to do it without the carry. And the captain's not letting the Jumbos taste the lead at any point.
Stenger now with the serve into Audette. Norris to Flath. Showing her height, but can't make it count yet. Adams from the back row. Norris to Chi this time, straight into the block once again. They're just hoping, and Burke, I don't think she needed to hit that. Kept it alive.
I am so lost at what just happened.
James this time. Now they call something.
I think they had a plain violation on the Jumbos. But
Utter
after
chaos on
all
both
the things,
sides.
I'm pretty sure the Jumbos got away with hitting 4.
I thought the same thing.
And after all that, that's what ends up getting called, as Cora Thompson wants an explanation. I think it has to do something with the rotation. And
May well have been a backcourt hit. I'm not sure, though, in the end. Is Stenger so much pace on that again? Norman. Same idea, but not the same execution.
Yeah, another great serve there from Audrey Stanger. When you get that serve coming down with that sort of pace, it really just puts the receiving team, in this case the Jumbos, on the back foot. Not much you can do with it.
Jumbo's really struggling to keep momentum in this set.
Great save there from Norris.
Burke on the slide again. Block is there, but is wide.
And that's frustrating for the Jumbos, right? Because Norris with a nice save. Then you have the slide do its job, get across, 2 people out to the block to meet the cross-court kill. But in the end, it doesn't matter because you can't keep it in play. It's just, even when they're doing everything right, it's not coming up their way.
That one will go their way eventually, as that goes off the captain's block and out.
That's interesting. I did not see it that way.
Jumbos will be happy to see it that way, whether it was that way or not. Slath has done her duty. She'll come back out for Lou and Wizenet checking in. Norris also checking out.
And Lou getting a service run here would be huge for the Jumbos.
Here's James, trying to end that service run before it can begin. Chi just manages to keep that alive. Vitali across to Burke, pushes it over. Lou to Heckman. Off the block and out again.
And that's big. Alina Chi gets credit for that because that little just dink over the net kept the point alive, and the block, which had been non-existent for most of this match, has finally come alive here in this third set.
Lou again. That's the ace they were looking for. That could be huge.
And Rihanna Lou has been a source of inspiration and energy for this Jumbos team from service, as a timeout going to be called from the captains.
Again, Lindsay Versh just taking the preemptive timeout. She does not want to let this lead slip. As you say, has not trailed have the captains since 5-4 in the first set. That was
exactly where she took the timeout in the second. She took it at 14-13 there.
Yeah.
Her team then went on an 11-3 run to close it out. Here she takes it at 12-11, and it's a good spot to take a timeout. But what it does open you up to, as we found out with both sets of Cora Thompson's timeouts, is if you can't stop the bleeding, it really takes all of the energy out of your team and just demoralizes them.
Momentum has been a huge factor for both teams so far in this match, as it tends to be in volleyball. Tufts on the losing end, as momentum can be a cruel mistress at times. As we saw that injury to Abive earlier, really took some of the wind out of their sails.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, the captains sailing at full steam ahead still.
And I think going into kind of the mentality inside the captain's locker room, it's a conscious choice they're making to really shorten up their rotation. No changes through sets 1 through 3. They're making a gamble that they can win this in 3 sets and that their players will be fresh for their game, which will start in 75 minutes against Calvin.
Calvin, you would have to say the best team on paper coming into this Boston Invite, because that is a misplay. I think that was by Vitali in the end. Tried to keep it alive, but then in the end sent it over and wide. And the Jumbos have another chance to retake the lead for the first time in the best part of an hour. Vitali to Burke on the slide again. They just will not give it up.
And while we're talking about statistics, one thing to note, we mentioned the Jumbos hitting percentage at the set break. It was .42 through 2 sets. Through 2.5 sets, it's up to .88. So they are hitting significantly better in this third set.
Better is not going to cut it, though, for Coach Cora Thompson at this point. Lou across to Norman. Again, the block from Christian Newport has been showing a couple cracks later in this third set.
Yeah, it's really the crack is, and I think they figured it out in this third set, is when the set comes from the middle, CNU is not great at getting that middle blocker out to the side.
Here's Norman. Another chance and another service error. She has a smile on her face, but it's probably does not reflect the emotion she's feeling inside.
And once again, the Jumbos had a chance to take the lead. Once again, can't take advantage.
Norman will be glad to see that. Burke, much less so. She checks out for Starr to come back in.
Yeah, and that is now service error number 9 on the day for the captains. That's more than 3 a set right now.
Great serve there by Shi. Dorn straight into the block. Rolls slightly reversing now. Lou to Audette. Great dig there by James. Vitali has to send over the free ball. Lou with the dump. Great work there.
And for the first time in more than an hour, the Jumbos lead on the scoreboard in the set. It was 5-4 in the first set. Now at 15-14 in the third, they reestablish a set lead.
It's another good serve from Shi. Dozier can't get it through the block. Shi sets that one for Heckman. Into James. Dozier again. Tried to keep it alive, did Shi, but not enough on it. The captains won't let the Jumbos pull away.
They won't, but this is the Jumbos block we saw in St. Louis. Everything is being contested right at the net, and those sort of free balls that were getting cross-court in the first 2 sets at ease for the captains are not there at all in this third set.
Jumbos have brought in Becca de Ponce Pinheiro. She gets the dig there. That's a big kill there. Put the Jumbos back in the lead.
And you mentioned momentum. For the first time all night, we're starting to hear the Jumbos crowd make some noise. Castor back to serve.
Ponce Pinheiro is coming into the back. She's one of the better serve receivers, should she be called into that role tonight. Here's Dorn from the right side. There is DePonce Pinheiro. Audette off the block and out once more. They've really done a decent job of just angling it off the block to make sure it can't go in.
Yeah, they're doing to the block exactly what the captains were doing to them in the first 2 sets. And the first Jumbo's 2-point lead of the entire night.
Here's Vitali to Hanley. Did that make it in? They're going to say it did. That was extremely close. But both line judges were immediate in their calling it in agreement.
They say volleyball's a game of inches. No more true than that one.
Now it's Adams in an unfamiliar position for the captains in this game, trailing. Lou to Audette, off the block and out the other side this time.
Whatever they've figured out in between sets is clearly the right play because they are abusing the captains on this left block right now. Well, I guess because I can't do left and right, I guess that would be the captain's right block, the left to us up here and the left to all of you on your screens.
Well, to them it's the near side block, I would say.
True. This is why I don't study geometry.
Audette, meanwhile, trying to get the angles right. Doesn't do it.
Ambitious from Christina Audette. If it had worked, it would have been sensational. But instead, it gives Starr the opportunity to serve. And she's been one of the better serve-receive players for the captains on the air.
Into Shi. Lou with the quick push over. Captains were wise to it. There's the kill from Norman.
Nope, it's going to be a plain violation on the Jumbos. And they knew it because...
I think that was a double touch in the end they called.
Did they call it double touch? Yeah. I think it would have been a plain violation either way anyway.
The captains tied up at 18. Star into Shi. Liu to Griffiths on the slide. There's the kill.
And Griffiths had run the slide but didn't get the ball on the set previous from Liu. That time gets it, delivers. And back to serve here will be Julia Griffiths.
Griffiths will be the middle blocker serving in this set as opposed to Chi in the last one. Deep serve, handled decently well and sent to James. Griffiths, not her strong position in the back row.
It's not, but that's also a communication problem because Christina Audette went down for that ball and backed off when she saw Griffiths commit. Audette probably has the ability to dig that ball up and at least make it somewhat playable.
Wisnant back into that back row alongside Audette and Castor. Liu tries to pull out all the tricks out of the bag. Adams from the back row might have been going along. Norman through the block. Now Burke through the Jumbo's block. Liu trying to be a hitter for once.
Jumbo's got away with 4 there.
Audette, great work to keep it alive. Sent all the way across by Castor. Norman sends it over. Now to James again. Into Audette again. Norman to Star. And there's Vitali proving her own setter's dump is just as capable.
Brilliant from Vitali. Everyone was expecting a big set in the Jumbos to collapse defensively, try and get a dig. Vitali, the only person in the room who knew it was coming, and it was perfectly timed. And just like that, Captain's 5 points away from the match.
And at this point, you have to question, what would this look like on the Jumbo's record, a 3-set loss to the Christopher Newport Captains?
You do, and I think, to be honest, Micah, I can't give you an answer because I think you have to wait and see how it looks in the context of this weekend at large. Because how a 3-set loss to Christopher Newport would look on a weekend in which they lost all 3 matches is very different from if they were to lose this in 3 sets, then go beat Calvin and Whittier tomorrow.
Definitely. Calvin will be a tall order for anyone going up against them this weekend. Any among these 6 teams, 3 from the Boston metro area.
Though it was 2 years ago in this very tournament when the #1 ranked team, Trinity of Texas, came to town and was defeated by the Jumbos, who were at the time unranked.
Jumbos receiving votes as of right now. Christopher Newport trying to climb their way back up the ladder. They are 5 points away from a huge step in doing that.
Stanger's been probably the best server for the Captains tonight. Back there right now.
Wisnant off the chest. And more miscommunication. Now send over the free ball. Miscommunication both sides. Now to Norman. Off the block. Wisnant is wise to it. Norman again. Past the block this time, and it can't be dug by Adams.
And neither team was on the same page, but really good job there from Norman, not getting in her own head, just staying with it. First time was blocked, second time saw the gap, took advantage. And even at 20 here in the 3rd set, Rihanna Liu back to serve. Was responsible for that big run that gave the Jumbos the lead in the middle of this set. Could she potentially serve this one out?
There's a delay between points as coaches have some things to say. I think they're just gonna clean the floor at the net.
Yeah, I think, I don't know how wet that floor actually is. I think this might be more both coaches wanting to talk to their teams and, well, whoopsie, there's a little bit of a wet spot on the floor.
Yeah. Heckman checking back in for this point. She does still lead the Jumbos with 9 kills, 4 more than anyone else. Still, though, 5 attack errors, 2 more than anyone else on the team. It's been hit or miss today at the best. James straight into that block.
Yeah, Emma Heckman has not had a kill since, as that's out. Oh, wow. Oh, my Lord. That sure looked out from here, Micah.
Looked out from here, but the line judge was immediate in their call.
I'm going to trust them because they're sitting about 100 feet closer than I am. But really, the second time a inches call on that paint on the far side has gone against the Jumbos in this 1-point 3rd set.
And that really is something of a sucker punch. Lou pushes it across to Norman. Tipped off the block, kept alive. Now Starr sends it over. Wisnant sets it for Heckman. Into the block again. Lou across to Norman. Acrobatically sends that over. Stenger from the backcourt. Blocked by Chi. It did stay in the end, just about.
And a big block from Chi. She was on an island there. The entirety of the rest of the Jumbo's rotation had committed to the left side. Chi with the solo block there to even it at 21.
Now it's Norman with the serve. Not the best receive. Doran sends over the free ball. Lou to Audette. Through the block again.
Ooh. You're going to say a big kill there for Christina Audette. And a timeout called by the captains. Jumbos with the lead 3 points away from taking this third set, which would really change the dynamic because for Christopher Newport, your ability to play just your starters and your 8-woman rotation, in effect, with a second game today is debatable, dicey, but it becomes really, really risky if you can't get it done in 3 sets.
Definitely. Meanwhile, Tufts, they do not have a second game today. They will wait until tomorrow to play Whittier and Calvin. They can afford to go all out today, more or less. CNU have to be conscious. These last, well, could be 3, could be theoretically as many as they make it, making this a huge couple of minutes for Christopher Newport in their early season so far.
Big minutes for the captains, big minutes for the Jumbos, because I think, as you asked me what a 3-set loss would look like, I'll tell you one thing, it would look significantly different than a 4 or 5-set loss.
The Jumbos are pushing to get closer to those more respectable scorelines.
And the Trojans from Calvin have entered here, watching from above.
Norman, that one just takes a tick off the net. James from the back row, dug by Norman. Here's Heckman, was behind her, and just pushed it too far.
It was there, too, for Emma Heckman.
As we say, she has been hit and miss, quite literally.
And a smart move there. Pinciero comes back in defensively for the Jumbos because they need to be able to receive this set.
Audette, that one looked to be going long. Burke taking no chances. Here's Dorn over the block.
That was going wide.
Luke kept it in play anyway. Audette through the block again. More miscommunication, and captain somehow managed to get it over. Audette over the block this time. James is ready. Dozier trying to get it in. There's the dump. Lou is well positioned. Heckman, again, complete misplay. And
yeah,
that
it looked
gives
like she was trying to dump it. In the end, decided to go with her right hand. That's probably one where if you have a left hand, you need to use it.
Heckman has looked a bit out of sorts at times in this game. The Jumbo's leader in kills. It's been a challenge to find them elsewhere. Audette says, I'm one of those. I can do that too.
Christine Audette now with her 4th kill of this 3rd set. Keeping the Jumbos in it. And it is their service specialist in She back there at 23 all.
And this is where you want her. Good serve into Stenger. Vitale to Dorn into the block.
Pretty sure that's 4.
Now Lou across to Audette. Couldn't quite get it over. Gets a second chance. Now Dorn past the block. More miscommunication as Castor sends over. Vitale for Dozier. Hasn't had a big impact on the set. Still can't do so. Castor cross court. Now to Dorn. That one is well wide. The Jumbos have a set point. That is going to be huge.
And it all comes back to that play on the net. Christine Audette did not have enough on it, and it probably would not have fell to the captain's side. The captains weren't willing to take the chance, hit it back. Jumbo's able to keep the point alive and now have set point.
She again. Too much on it. The Captains survive.
And we go to 24 apiece here. A reminder, Jumbos still do have one timeout remaining in this set. Captains have none.
It is Vitali back to serve. Knuckleball. Lou to Griffiths. Keeps the Jumbos another chance to take this set.
Claire Castor will be the one to serve.
Claire Castor, one of the best servers on the team last year, hasn't quite caught fire yet this year. Here's her chance. Vitali to Dozier, and again, Captains will not give up.
They are not willing to give an inch. Neither team is here in this third. Back to serve for the Captains, Phoebe Adams.
Also one of their better servers. Bit of spin on that, and she thought it was going along. I thought that hit the line, but referee was with she.
I was kind of with you, Micah, but maybe a makeup call. Nonetheless, a great read from Chi, and the Jumbos will try, see if third time's the charm. Christine Audette to serve this one.
All of the experience you can ask for from Christine Audette.
And
so much on that. It did touch the ground eventually, and the Jumbos will keep this one alive going into this fourth set at 2-1. It's Christopher Newport lead. Welcome back for the fourth time to Cousins Gymnasium, as the Jumbos have forced this fourth set by the skin of their teeth, winning the third 27-25. This could have huge implications for both the seasons of the Jumbos and the Captains. Christine Audette with the decisive serve to take us into the fourth. And you'd have to say Jumbos just clinging onto momentum, trying to make this fourth one count.
yeah, I think for the Jumbos, just to get to this fourth set was really a win. And now the momentum is shifted. That is, without a doubt, the truth. The energy level in Cousins is much higher. There are a lot more people here, a lot more Jumbos fans. Maybe they heard my message, I don't know. But as we see that clock tick down to zeros, this is a Jumbos team that seemingly has started to figure it out. the block is there. They have started to capitalize on their disparity in terms of service game. And the real question is, can they find a way to really just run away with a set? Because we've yet to see either team, with the exception of CNU at the end of that second set, really get more than a 4-point lead at any point tonight.
And if you're CNU, it's concerning at this point. You were counting on getting that win in 3 sets. Now you've committed. If you start rotating your players, then you give the Jumbos another extra window to exploit and get this game to a 5th.
I feel like, and I know I'm going to sound insane saying this, but I feel like if CNU doesn't win this 4th set, it's almost a guarantee they won't win the 5th, because the momentum swing after having a 2-set-to-none lead, being up 23-22 in the 3rd set with a chance to close it out, and then not doing so, is just so profound.
You can see Jumbos could tell you all about that after their NCAA first-round loss to Eastern last year. Had chances to close it out, couldn't do it. Now on the other end of a comeback. Dozier trying to reinstate herself on the score sheet. Now across to Doran. Lou takes that one off of the hands of Audette. Across to Norman. Did that take a touch? They're going to say it did not. Christopher Newport gets on the board first.
Yeah, and a little bit unfortunate there for the Jumbos, but we were mentioning rotation and the lack thereof, as we see a little bit of it from CNU here with Avery Hanley checking in. But you can see noticeable signs of fatigue in some of these blockers here for the captains.
Norman again, that one is long. As you say that, the Jumbos have been plenty willing to rotate. Cam G's coming back in after a decent showing in, I think, the first, second sets. Didn't play the 3rd. Norman is taking over the outside hitter role for some of that time. Now it's Chi coming in. That's huge.
It is. And while we're speaking about rotations, the big one made by Cora Cunningham, by Cora Thompson, which I think took guts but was probably the right move at the time, was to take Emma Heckman out to start this set.
Dorn off the block. Captains take a 3-1 lead. Ponce Pinheiro has become a firm part of this rotation now as she's looking to check in for Norman.
I like that move a lot because a defensive specialist to play in the back row, really you put her in that back and you take away really any chance at a service ace for the captains.
Wasn't that make sure you don't jinx it there? Camji, that one straight into the block, and that's a huge confidence booster for the CNU left side blockers.
It is, and it's the first time in a long time we've seen that CNU block fully send it and get all the way over.
Here's Adams. That one had too much pace on it. Audette called it right.
Audette called it right, but it was actually Wisenet who made the call to her grad student leader, telling her to leave it. And that's the sort of leadership that you need from underclassmen in a team which only has a total of 5 upperclassmen.
She does the exact same thing the other way.
Yeah, and that's really something the Jumbos cannot afford to be doing. Have really been the much better team in terms of service, but if they start racking up service errors, this one's going to get away from them fast.
That one dug by Shi. Lou looking for Audette. Burke did her best to keep it alive, but nothing doing.
Yeah, and Christina Audette has come alive here in the last 2 sets. Now 8 kills. She did not have a kill in the first 2 sets, has now put up 8 in a set plus a couple points.
Yeah, that move to her playing the front row from Cora Thompson, it's really paid dividends so far. That's a caster, not what she wanted.
And that's how you can kind of tell that these players are starting to get fatigued. The legs just coming out on those serves. We're seeing it on both sides right now.
For anyone wondering, Apiibe is back on the Jumbo's bench. She looks to be taking stats right now. May not return today, but looking to be okay so far as that one stumbled there from Stenger. As she'd already tossed
what was I
it.
saying about fatigue and service?
And the legs coming out?
Yeah, that
legs
literally.
giving out there.
Yeah, looked like me when I was trying to deadlift. Just not happening.
Audette trying to avoid the curse of the fatigue here. Gets a good serve away. Vitali looking for James, takes a touch. Lou, miscommunication, and Norman takes it over. Vitali for Burke, more miscommunication. Both teams just seem both mentally and physically tired at this point.
I believe, if my count was correct, I watched 5 players lose their footwork either due to fatigue or slipping on something during that one play.
Vitali to James again, off the block and out.
She's been everywhere for the captains. That is kill number 10 now for James. That's already 2 more than she had the entire season coming into the day.
Only 1 error on top of that. The efficiency. It's been astounding.
She's really been the difference maker.
No spin on that serve either. Here's Norman straight through the block. Gets the point for the Jumbos.
And with neither team really being able to put together a consistent run of solid serves, it's going to come down to those blocks in the middle and whether or not you're able to just step up for a couple points and get the block there.
Stamina really starting to play a role. As we mentioned, CNU have not gone to 5 sets this year. Tufts had a 5-setter against CMS in St. Louis. Castor tries to keep it alive. Lou chased after it but wasn't getting there.
Well, not only that, as a good effort there from the Jumbos, they had a 5-setter against CMS and then did what the captains are about to do and played another game immediately after.
In fairness, they did lose that one in the straights. Audette from back row now hits the net, did not hit the block, so that would be a 4th touch. Captains trying to pull away again. They were at 2-5, now they're at 6-9.
Have not been able to stretch it more than 3 at any point since the second set.
Burke trying to break that fallow streak. Norman tips it over. Dozier through the block again. That's another kill for her.
And that's the first time in this 4th set that Dozier's really risen up for a kill. Had hit a couple without much really legs in it. That one significantly better.
That one just long. Again, good call. But I think a combination of Wisnet and Audette. Dozier now one of 3 captain's players on 7 kills along with Burke and Doran.
And Jumbo's set up pretty nicely here with Rihanna Liu back to serve.
James receives. Vitali. Now in another huge kill from Dozier.
And Audette's going to want that one back. She was in the right spot, just didn't quite read the spin.
Christopher Newport stretches the lead to 4.
Vitali now going to serve.
Had a chance earlier in the last set, and that one long. Not what you'd like to see.
Yeah, had a service error in that last set, had one here. CNU has a couple good servers consistently, but the problem is, as they get fatigued, they don't have a second line who can serve the way the Jumbos might.
Here is Vitali. The Dozier tips it over the block. Kamji back into the game. Goes the other way. Now Hanley through the block. And that was Norman, who was unsighted on the back row. Couldn't get there in time.
Yeah, and that's just unfortunate for the Jumbos. Did everything right to get it over, but the block never reconsolidated. And doesn't matter how fatigued the captains are. If there's no block, they're going to find the ground.
Phoebe Adams, one of the better servers coming into this game. She has 5 service errors so far.
It's half of theirs combined.
It's not been her night behind the service line, despite the 1 ace she recorded. Looking to rectify that here. Again, so much power, and it's another service error.
Yeah, the service errors, I mean, it's racking up in rapid succession. The captain's at 14 now, 4 of which have already come in this 4th set. And some rotational confusion here for the Jumbos. So we're going to have to take a momentary pause, not us, but the referees, to figure out who's supposed to be on the line. I believe it's she.
That is what they've decided in the end. Audette had claimed it, but was not.
I believe Audette
was at the point
just
to come
served 1 or 2 runs ago.
Yeah. As we say, just mental fatigue coming in as this game extends. James again. Through the block. No one can get there.
11 kills for James, who has having her breakout story right here in Cousins Gymnasium. And looks to be a wet spot that she wants to deal with. In the meantime, Cora Thompson tells her to leave it for the referees because she wants to huddle up with her team. They're down 4, 13-9 in this 4th set, and it really feels like this is the game and the match itself on a ledge right here, right now, Micah.
And it feels like deja vu if you go back to that first and second set. Very similar story. CNU trying to pull away, couldn't quite make the lead that big, but the Jumbos could not keep up. And at this rate, CNU will be heading for another win on the board.
They are, and I mean, just like every other set so far today, CNU in front pretty consistently. The question is, can the Jumbos do what they did in the 4th and just have a quick run, or excuse me, in the 3rd? Mental fatigue coming in here, and get a quick run.
It's not easy calling these games. Maybe not as hard as what they're doing on the court, but
I feel much more confident in my ability to do this than do that, but
fair enough.
That's another debate.
Here is Starr in pole position for the captains. That one received by Shi. Lou. Cross to Audette, and way too much head on that one.
Yeah, I think Audette thought she was trying to hit through a block. Just tried to send it through, but no block really emerged, and it went way long.
Starr again. Low serve this time. Pushed over by Burke again. Now Lou, and miscommunication. That's going to go 4 touches to the captains.
And a big run here for the captains, who have now put 4 straight on the board.
Abigail Gray is going to come back into the game for Christine Audette. Jumbo's trying to stem the bleeding. Ponce Pinheiro receives. Forced to send over the free ball. Vitale to Hanley, off the block. Ponce Pinheiro to Lou. Castor goes for the very sharp angle cross court, can't get it to fall.
And I think that's the 3rd or 4th time I've mentioned it, but Claire Castor just trying to be a little too ambitious today. That's not going to help the Jumbo's stats here. Their stat for this 4th set right now, hitting percentage at -.23.
They'll take that long serve, but that is not a good sign for the Jumbos in this 4th set. These captains are doing their best to just pull away and make this one as painless as possible.
Yeah, if the captains hadn't committed 7 service errors, this one probably would have been over.
Vitale to James. Is that another one? Yes, it is. James has been stellar tonight.
James now with a dozen, and that really has been one of the points of difference. Cora Thompson mentioning something about the substitutions here from the captains.
Captains having none of it for now is Stenger. Another serve. Gray looking to break the rotation. Now James again. It's another one. Baker's doesn't call that.
And I think the most really reflective stat as a change coming in here for the Jumbos of this 4th set is open play. Plays that have gone past the first serve. Right now, 16-3 in favor of the captains.
Communication has really been an issue for the Jumbos on those longer points. Captain's doing a good job of capitalizing. Right now, you have to say, Coach Birch did a better job out of the timeout that she did not call. As Gray tries to send another one down the line. Kept alive. Vitale sends it over. Here's Norris. Heckman coming in behind, and that's another shot in the arm.
Big there. Emma Heckman's first kill since the 1st set. And a little bit of life here for the Jumbos. And a question again about rotations, because there seems to be some confusion and some tension surrounding it over at the scorer's table.
Jumbo's in a 7-point hole. Meanwhile, the captain's 7 points from the match.
Abigail Gray going to serve.
Good spin on that one. Vitale cross to Burke. Goes through the block again. Visible frustration from Emma Norman on that one.
And it is frustrating because the Jumbos just have not been able, after really figuring out mentally the block in the third set, have not physically been able to just repeat it in this fourth.
James now with the serve. The star of the night. Norris to Norman. Kept alive by Stenger. Vitale sets it back for Dorn. Now to Heckman, looking to redeem herself. Vitale with the dump. Still alive. Heckman again this time. Still looked a bit out of sorts, but CNU can't deal with it.
Yeah, and it's kind of just Hail Mary time for the Jumbos. They're trying to do whatever they can to get the ball over the net and hoping that the captains commit an error.
Captains inching closer to their safe haven and a 4-set win. Dorn just pushes that one over. Chi does her best. Now Vitale to Burke, straight through that block again. The captains are within 5.
Yeah, and the stat really speaks for itself. So far in this fourth set, 11 kills for the captains. Jumbos with 1 block.
Just have not been able to keep up physically with the captains in this fourth. Heckman, that one goes through the block, and Burke can't keep it alive. Jumbo's not giving up that easily. Some more confusion as to who's going to serve this time. So Lou is a bit late coming up for her sub. She and Castor check in for Heckman and Norris.
It seems like Cora Thompson's trying to get Lou as much service opportunities as possible, but in doing so has created a bit of confusion in her rotation.
It's not a bad plan, though. James, though, kills that one before it can start.
Yeah, another just phenomenal set from the middle from Star. That one once again killed by James. That's 13 now for her. She's 1 ahead of Emma Heckman, who's got a dozen.
That one, not the ideal receive by Norman. Castor manages to get that to take a touch. Jumbos can't close this lead from 7, though. Their time is running out. Norman looked like potentially a mishit serve, but came off well. There's the block.
Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
Jumbo's bench excited about that one. CNU a bit less so, it's fair to say.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be particularly pleased with that point. See if Emma Norman can make it 2 for 2.
Again, another lofted serve, as she did last time. Dozier, she couldn't control it. 3 points.
And maybe a good thing for the Jumbos that Abigail Gray did not get to that ball, because she went all out for it, but came dangerously close to the scorer's table.
Jumbo's already had 1 injury tonight. Glad to avoid another, but this will not go down well in the huddle here. Cora Thompson, this is her last chance to get some words of wisdom into her players. They need to save this set.
They do. For those of you at home watching, we don't have a current time update on the second game of the night between these captains and Calvin University, but we would imagine that it will not start immediately at 6:30. They do, by NCAA rule, have to give the team at least 30 minutes between the games. It is currently 5:53, so I'd imagine that game will start not too far off its scheduled time, but probably not right on time.
If the Jumbos have their way, it will be as late as possible.
If the Jumbos have their way, we might be here till midnight.
That is why they make it 15 points for the 5th set, though.
It is. but as the third set found out, you got to win by 2, and there's no limit on how long that can take.
Especially given the tenacity that the captains have showed so far. They're already out from their timeout. They are well prepared to close this match out.
Three points away is Christopher Newport for making it 3-0 in the all-time season series.
Norman misjudged it. She can't do a lot with it. Now it's Hanley. There's skill number 1.
And you can tell how tired these players are by the fact that she's free ball almost found the ground.
Adams doing her best to get out of this set and this match as quickly as possible. As we say, 6 service errors from her on the night.
That was a nice serve.
Yeah, no problems that time. Gray off the block, and that's going to be 9 match points. 9 for Christopher Newport.
Crowd starting to get back to their feet. This majority CNU faithful here at Cousins.
Phoebe Adams with the chance to open the Boston Classic with a win for CNU. Lou to Gray off the net. Vitale to Hanley. And that is it. The captains drop anchor in Boston with a 3-1 win over the Tufts University Jumbos. Riley, what are your thoughts in conclusion?
I mean, my conclusion is really that the captains dominated from start to finish. I think we expected this to be a hard-fought match, and it was to some extent. I mean, you look at the sets, right? 1 won by 4 points, 1 by 6, 1 here by 9. So it wasn't like they were blown out. But when the Jumbos led for a total of about 5 minutes of real time, they just never really felt like they had any momentum in this game. And for CNU, a big win to kind of restore their season. For the Jumbos, it's big that they won that third set. That is huge. It really showed a backbone. It showed a sense of like extra commitment. It showed that they have what it takes to contend at the top level of the NESCAC, which they hope to do. And I think it's probably really good that they get a chance to have the rest of the night off, watch the CNU Calvin game, and get prepared for tomorrow, which could and probably will in all likelihood have a very significant outlook on their NCAA tournament aspirations with 2 big non-conference games against Calvin and Whittier. For the Jumbos, it was just too many errors and really too many unforced errors. When your hitting percentage for a 4-set match is less than .1, you're not going to win that match. It's as simple as that.
It really is. Jumbos walking off the court disappointed. They will have a chance to reprove their worth tomorrow against Whittier and Calvin on the PAC network. Meanwhile, we at JumboCast will be bringing you the CNU versus Calvin game in about half an hour. I would like to take an opportunity to thank my crew around me, John Murphy and Zachary Miller on camera, Catherine Burns directing, Riley Daniel next to me, I've been Micah Baum. Thank you all for tuning into JumboCast, and as always, stay home safely.